Before we get into it, I want to make something very, very clear. I could potentially be wrong. I've tried to look into the information as deeply as I could, and I didn't really find much on this whole situation. So if you can shed some extra light in an otherwise pretty dark room, feel free to chime in. Let's hear what John Morrison had to say, who was arguably well known in his singles run in WWE, as well as being The Miz's tag team partner back in the day. So let's hear what he had to say.
Triple H, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. On Saturday, I did something that none of them could ever do. Let's win a real fight. Suckers. And if KSI really wants to challenge himself...
Okay, no one cares about KSI. That's off topic. So, first and foremost, he took a jab at a few people. Okay? CM Punk, Triple H, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. What? I want a real fight. Okay, good for you. So John Morrison is pictured here after his debut as a professional boxer, and he did really well for himself. And I'm proud of him. Okay? He's my age, mid-40s, keeping in tip-top shape. He was on Survivor. He's incredibly just good at what he does. And it's not always easy at all to jump from one style to another. Brock Lesnar did it. Not everybody can do it. Okay, didn't quite work out well for CM Punk. I mean, he took a jab at CM Punk, and I can see that more in a way because CM Punk actually tried to take a hand at the UFC, and it didn't work out. But CM Punk and the others that were mentioned here, I don't think have ever gone off on a rant bragging like they could win a real fight. Second of all, who says they can't? Third of all, who fucking cares if they can't? Your manhood isn't just measured by how many abdominal muscles you can count, and he's got like muscles in places I didn't even know had places. There's more to life than just that. So unless these superstars that he called out were caught on the hot mic, like Hogan with the N-word, caught bragging that they could throw down, they could kick John Morrison's ass, then everything he said is warranted. But from everything that I looked into, none of these people have ever claimed anything, including CM Punk. Now, CM Punk is a bit of a special case, like I said, because he tried his hand at UFC, didn't work out, as I mentioned, but he tried, okay? I don't recall anywhere CM Punk saying, you know what, bitch, I got this. No. He trained really hard. He gave it his all. He followed his passion, and it didn't work out. Do you know how many times I've tried my hand at shit, and it didn't work out? I want to say 9.5 times out of 10, shit don't work out for me at all. But martial arts, speaking of which, was something I excelled at. I used to teach martial arts, Shotokan karate. Okay? And I've tried boxing, and I've tried MMA, and I did pretty decently. Not going to start talking numbers. This isn't about me, but I just wanted to reflect that, you know, that is pretty much the only thing of anything else I've ever tried that I'm decent at that I can look at and go, you know what? I'm proud of my accomplishments in that world. I also play guitar. I've been playing guitar for 33 years. But if you listened to me play, you would think I've been playing guitar for 33 days. Okay? Like I'm just not that good at the guitar. I can play a little bit, but okay? I don't like telling people how long I've been playing the guitar for, because then you're expecting a certain level out of me. I don't have a problem telling people that I've trained martial arts and all that, because I can back it up. To what level? That's not the point. Okay? Then we're going to take a look at one of my favorite people on the entire planet. I'm not talking about the girls back here. Fedor Emelianenko. Russian MMA god. I love this guy. Makes me feel good about myself. Because I, more or less, you know, look about something like that. That's roughly what I look like. And this is not a knock at him at all, okay? But with all due respect, you look at him, you look at a guy like this, or like a Logan Paul, or a Finn Balor, or a Mike Tyson in his prime, or even now. Like, you can't just look at somebody and be like, yeah, they can't fight. Because this guy will fuck your ass inside out. Okay? And apparently this guy could probably do a decent job too. He looks the part and is the part. Some people don't necessarily look the part. What I don't understand is like Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is just such a humble, down-to-earth guy. I think so's Roman Reigns. Like, I've never met these people. I'm just going by the word on the street, interaction with fans, just in general, right? Like I said, I like John Morrison. Okay, he said some things in the past that make sense, about the WWE here. I'm going to have a link down below in the description box if you want to read that. It's fairly recent, like it's from yesterday. And it has nothing to do with, taking jabs at people. It's more about just the promotions, wrestling promotions in general. But like all the people that he named, they've all done something that John Morrison could never do. That's become a main event superstar. Okay, including his former tag team partner, The Miz. Now, does that mean John Morrison sucks now? Because he couldn't put himself over? Right, you can't say that. So what are we going to say next? That John Morrison can't wrestle? Because that's bullshit too, because he can. Right? This guy is incredibly talented, but yet he still couldn't make it. And speaking of Cody Rhodes, speaking of Roman Reigns, those are two names that he called out that I want to say something again about those two. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, two people that for years I was huge fans of, still am, even bigger now. Oh my God, did they just capitalize on the moment? Back in the day, dashing Cody Rhodes, and then when he had the mask, and when he was Stardust, and all this kind of stuff. I loved Cody Rhodes. It's like, oh yeah, it's Cody Rhodes. I love it. It seems cool. But then fast forward until now, we see him on the mic. We see him more behind the scenes on social media, interacting with people just as a person, as a character, as a performer at a high tier level. And holy macaroni with extra cheese and the bacon bits. Is it ever a loaded plate? Because Cody Rhodes did, with all due respect, something I just didn't know he could do. And that is be beyond what words in a dictionary can describe. And the same goes for Roman Reigns. I've always loved Roman Reigns, but I didn't know he was capable of that. And what I mean by that is something that, no offense, he didn't quite excel at before. And that was his microphone skills. And that's okay, because again, he never went on like he was a big shot. He never went on claiming to be the pipe bomb master like CM Punk. He used to suck on the mic. Now he's like, oh my God, he's believable. Like Hollywood, hire this guy. Right? Maybe it could have been the same thing with John Morrison. We don't know. You can't ever technically, in some ways, within reason, you can't always judge by even what you see on WWE because everything is scripted. Look at Hulk Hogan from the 80s, right? The yellow tights and, couple of moves. I think he had less moves than John Cena, if that's even freaking possible. Okay? But did you ever see him wrestle in Japan? Drop toe holds, drop kicks, fucking climbing the top rope. He was moving around like fucking Tajiri. Or Finn Balor or any of those high flyers, or Neville. What? Comes to WWE, let me tell you something, brother. Vitamins and prayers and a leg drop. What? So people could be like, Hogan can't wrestle. Bet you don't know Hogan. Right? That's what I'm getting at. So with the case of Cody Rhodes, I think he could have probably always been able to shine. Or maybe he just blossomed into something greater. That's possible too. But again, I don't know if he tried his hand again at cutting a promo back in the day. Because you don't always have a lot of creative control. So you got to be careful with how you judge, within reason again, with how you judge people. But yes, there's definitely names that you can pick out very easily as some of the best on the mic. CM Punk, The Miz, Chris Jericho, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, just to name a few. Right? Like, those are just people that... Okay? But there are other people just as good as... Actually, you know what? Oh my God, I feel bad. Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns. I have to put them up there now. Cody Rhodes, a couple of weeks ago on Raw specifically, was one of his longest promos. Almost 10 minutes, and he just kept going on, and it was lit. Like, wow. It was just insane just how the hell can you just go off on a rant like that? I don't care if it was scripted beforehand. I mean, even on a sitcom, you got to do multiple breaks. Nobody knows their lines for 10, 15 minutes at a time. That's like a half a Seinfeld episode right there. 22 minutes is a Seinfeld episode. I watch Seinfeld nightly. It's like a ritual for the past, 30-something years since day one it came out. So I just don't get... I know I kind of went off there. ADHD, okay? I don't get it. Who cares if these people can't win a fight to get back on point? But yes, absolutely be proud of what you did. I'm proud of Logan Paul. He went from being a fucking clown show on YouTube. Well, he's still a bit of a clown. A little bit of a dingleberry now. He might have been downgraded a bit. Look at him in the ring. I can't do 5% of what he does in the ring. But he might not be able to play guitar as good as me. And John Morrison might not be able to as well. Okay? So we all have strengths and weaknesses. And don't get me wrong, I'm not offended that he took this jab. It just seems a little bit off. And he's like, you suckers. If I was John Morrison, which I'm not, in some ways I wish I might, because I look as good as him until I wake up in the morning. If I was someone like John Morrison, if I was myself and I won a professional fight and I had been in WWE with the level of success, whether you want to call it a success or not in the WWE, I would have been like, you know what? I did something on Saturday that some of my peers, no offense, may not have been able to do, and that's when a professional fight. And this just comes to show you that sometimes in life, even if you think you have a calling and it doesn't always work out for you, branch off into something else. And here I am. So it looks like I'm a better boxer than putting myself over in wrestling. Whereas these people, no offense, may not have been able to do what I did on Saturday, but look at how they're able to capitalize in the professional wrestling world. Like, I don't know, man. It's just a bit weird. And then there's a comment down below. And I get where both people are coming from. Really, I do. Yikes. Probably bitter that Hunter didn't bring him back and Tony doesn't want to sign him. And then Slick here says, or maybe since he's getting into boxing and was asked a question about real fighting, maybe he just gave an honest answer. You marks are always looking for something to complain about. Why did he censor Mark? Don't tell me on Ringside News you can't use the word Mark. Then you have Punk trained for a handful of years with UFC coaches and smacked the Bucks around by himself. Oh, yeah, that's true. And then Romans is a freaking Samoan. In that family, no chance he can't fight. Then Slick again. I think some middle schoolers could slap the Bucks around. That's not much to brag about. Just, again, like I said, going back to the CM Punk thing, I have so much respect. Maybe not for... Again, I wasn't there. I can't judge that whole thing, at AEW again. I was going to talk about it, but because there's not a lot known and I wasn't actually there, it's hard for me to comment on. But just overall, with the UFC stint, I have so much respect for CM Punk. I really, really do. I mean, a lot of people that might laugh and poke fun at him, would you have had the balls to step up to the plate in the UFC? I'm just saying. And then after he failed once, he still went again and took it very seriously. And it didn't work out. So CM Punk is a better entertainer in professional wrestling than he is a UFC fighter. There's a fact there, but without trashing him. But again, most people wouldn't be able to do half of what CM Punk's done. And I don't believe, again, that CM Punk has ever bragged about being like the next GSP or whatever, or the next Conor McGregor, right? Whereas John Morrison, his real name John Hennigan, seems very confident. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I'm very proud of John Morrison. I'm proud of Logan Paul. But they're, I don't know. I don't want to rant about this for too long. I kind of went off, kind of off topic a little bit. That's just unfortunately what happens with me. Let me know down below. Is there something hidden here that I'm missing? Why these names specifically that were picked out? And I read some articles, again, just shows you why you got to do a little bit of research, that talked about Seth Rollins. Apparently his name was thrown in there. But out from this clip, and again, this is just a very small clip, barely 20 seconds, we don't know what he asked him beforehand, right? Sometimes context, actually a lot of times context matters. But from what we heard here, I don't know if this was just good lighthearted humor, just taking a little jab, but calling them suckers after, I don't know. Maybe he is really bitter and it wasn't just a joke to him. So if you made it this far, like I said, you could give this a thumbs up, the video, if you liked it, a thumbs down if you didn't like it, and I'll send both of these guys after you. And yeah, let me know if there's like a reason, like were any of these people ever caught, saying something that I'm not aware of. It's bizarre to me why those, oh my God, why those specific names. All right, that's it for me. If you want to subscribe, again, 60, hey, I'm under my usual 20 minutes, so that's good. This is shorter than a Seinfeld or a South Park episode. There's some positivity there. Take care, and maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.